Welcome to Griff Burns Books. I'm Griff. This is my poem, The Hospital Gorilla Guy's Glory. In Al Kut, the mission was to deliver hospital supplies. We were in high-back Humvees, plenty of firepower to escort 7 tons. This gorilla guy delivered so many hospital things. A crowd of kids and women began to come see. One brave boy approached me. Mister, he said as he touched my armored flak. Is this you? He inquired of me. I didn't want to be misunderstood. We're all human too. I rip open my flak, exposing my sweat-covered chest. This is me. I began to beat my chest like King Kong, screaming like Tarzan. The brave boy started to mimic me. It was the end of a long day. Hospital supplies delivered, mission accomplished. But now I had a fan club of Iraqi Tarzan children, a large group following our exit, screaming and pounding their chests as they mimicked me. My lieutenant said to me, they will grow up to become our enemy. We're all human. That is my glory. That's my poem, The Hospital Gorilla Guy's Glory. Thank you for joining us here at Griff Burns Books. That poem is from my book that is self-published and available on Amazon right now. Burned in Babylon and Robin Griffiths. It's Broken Bitter but not ever giving up. The manifesto of Robin Rolfe Griffiths, the toxic grunt. Yours truly. That Burned in Babylon, my book, and The Hospital Gorilla Guy's Glory is in that book. I try to tell my story using poetry. It works for me. Hopefully some other people can glean some of that storytelling ability that I use with poetry for their own purposes and tell their own stories. Amazon KDP, big shout out to them for making that possible. Definitely look into it. And if you have questions about it, let me know, because I pay attention and I'm a quick learner. Anyways, this is Griff Burns Books, and we also, besides doing poetry and plugging my own book, Burned in Babylon by Robin Griffiths on Amazon. Okay, I'm done. We do short form book reviews for you, and so today I'm going to review The Lost World of the Old Ones, Discoveries in the Ancient Southwest by David Roberts, which is an amazing book. It was a lot of fun for me to read this book. It took a little bit longer than I anticipated because it's very academic and lots of great details in here by David Roberts, who is an amazing author and just a really cool person from the sounds of it in his book. And so let's just dive right into this, The Lost World of the Old Ones. Like I said, David Roberts, he studied at Harvard. It doesn't say in the book exactly what he studied, but I think he might be a historian, given his writing style, which is not only just clairvoyant, but witty and entertaining and not too highfalutin. Although if you have trouble reading, academic manuscripts and academic papers and stuff like that, some of this stuff will get pretty dry and boring, but there's a tons of great stuff in here. So David Roberts really addresses the whole prehistoric scene of the Four Corners region. So there's a lot of talk about the Fremont tribe and how also maybe they were a subculture of the ancient plebeians. David also dives into the term ancient plebeian people as opposed to Anasazi. So there's a lot of talk in here about that. Let's just see. So let's dive into the book and we can go into it. So here I've highlighted some stuff, and I do this when there's a really good book that I like and it's dealing with a subject matter that I find incredibly interesting and I want to share it with all you guys. I do it like this. Like when I studied books in college, I was notorious for highlighting and tabbing probably way too much, and I still kind of am, but this one is really good, so definitely pick it up if you're into Southwest culture, prehistoric culture. The Navajo, the Hopi, the Anasazi, which is something we're going to talk about here in a second, the ancient plebeians, Fremonts, and even there's cool stories about old Mormon cowboys and pioneers in this one as well. So there's a lot of cool information in here that David Roberts puts in. So let's dive right into it. And the book also has some amazing pictures in there as well. So I don't know if you guys can pick that up. They're on paper and they're black and white. But there's just some really cool pictures in the book, which, that always makes it fun for this toxic grunt to read. I like pictures, but these are really cool pictures of some ancient petroglyphs probably Fremont, and also there's ancestral Puebloan petroglyphs pictured in here, and just beautiful scenery of southern Utah around Blanding area in the Four Corners region, which is I'm partial to as well. So it's very interesting book, very intellectual. It's very well spoken, and like I said, David Roberts does a great job writing the book. So I think he is a history major. Again, his alma mater was Harvard, so it could get a little highfalutin sometimes. And then one of the most curious things is the mystery that happened to the ancient plebeians, but also the Fremont. So you can see in here, David's talking about the famous abandonment and how there's new questions about what possibly happened to the Snazi or the Anasazi or the ancient plebeian people, which it turns out that Anasazi is actually possibly a derogatory term, meaning ancient enemy, and not what I had always been told was ancient people or ancient ones. Growing up as a boy, my father would take me camping down in the Four Corners region, and we would look for Anasazi ruins. And so that term is actually a Navajo term used to describe ancient enemy. So ancient plebeians is the more correct terminology for the cliff dwellers in the Four Corners region. And like I said, there was a famous abandonment around 1200 AD, but the area was occupied for thousands of years, even before that, by nomads. And then some people started to come in here, and there's really cool information about how they built their pueblos and how they may have used ropes or ladders. One of the coolest discoveries that David talks about is in the last chapter of his book, where he talks about a full basket he found in and around Cedar Mesa. And I have a lot of respect for David Roberts. He wrote this book in a great way, a very objective way. One of the profound things that he said that kind of stuck with me was right in the last chapter as well, where he was even talking about he turned 70 in 2013, and he wondered how many more seasons he would have, how many more springs and autumns he would have to go hunt and search for these ancient plebeian ruins and arrowheads and pottery and just so much cool information that is living history. They actually call Cedar Mesa in this book an outdoor museum, which is super cool to me. So we will be going camping, and we will go hike those trails. Moonbeam's gonna come with me, so is Sunshine and Tanya too, and we're gonna go check out Cedar Mesa. If you are into anything like that, definitely check out David Roberts, The Lost World of the Old Ones. In here, he talks a lot about, like I said, the Navajo terminology of the Anasazi. Also, he talks about a big plot of land protected by an old cowboy named Waldo Wilcox, and it's called Range Creek. Lots of academic information, but also some very cool old cowboy stories and stuff like that. So, yeah, definitely check this out, guys. The Lost World of the Old Ones, Discoveries in the Ancient Southwest. David Roberts. This book has been burned. Definitely a must read. So we also got other books here too. Like I've had some recommendations for philosophy books. Assholes, a Theory by Aaron James. It's an amazing book. Everyone should go ahead and pick this up. If you're into Stoicism or any kind of philosophy reading or anything like that, Aaron James, Assholes, go check it out. That's a great book as well. If you're into maybe like high level geopolitics and some war stories and some recovering from war stories, check out my friend's book, The Mirror Test by Cale Weston. Amazing book here as well. Cale's an amazing man and a true patriot and a friend, and he wrote a really great book as well. So The Mirror Test by Cale Weston. And then also, so for next week, I've got a recommendation right here, Fight Club. I'm going to read this book right here by Chuck Palahniuk. I think I pronounced that right, probably not. So I'm going to dive into this book book and get it read, and that will be next week. I will burn Fight Club for you guys here on Griff Burns Books. Also, we do read poetry here, and if you're into poetry, check out Dot Head by Amit Majmadar. That's one we've already done. Maybe I'll do a full burn on Amit Majmadar's book, Dot Head here. So in the comments, leave comments, subscribe. If you feel so inclined, share this content. But if you would like me to do this, let me know and I'll get it on the list. I got an ever-growing list of books on burning, guys. Cal Clement, HMS Valor. We're going to dive right back into the naval war history with this bad boy soon enough. And then, as always, just to kind of wrap everything up after we burned David Roberts' book, definitely check out Louis L'Amour, The Haunted Mesa. If you're into science fiction and you're into stuff that we were talking about earlier, prehistoric, Four Corners, ancient plebeian people, and what might have happened, check this out. Also, in David Roberts' book, he talks about the Navajo legend of what happened to the Anasazi, was that they abused their magical power. So that's pretty interesting. That's in this book, David Roberts' book right here. And it's also kind of in the Haunted Mesa, which we have already burned here on Griff Burns Books. And so we got all kinds of books. We got books and books and books and books and books. But if you're really looking for some poetry and you want to support a poet and a wounded Iraq war veteran, check out Burned in Babylon, please, and thank you. So comment, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Go to Amazon, buy my book. Thank you so much. This is Griff Burns Books. Be good.